You are listening to episode 8 of the Underhook Show. As always, my name is Steve, alongside my co-host Chris, here to talk about the ongoings of weekly television wrestling and then some. Chris, how you doing on this Wednesday evening?
Doing good, my brother. Doing good. A little chilly. Temperature dropped a little bit, but we're doing good. Got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we settling back kind of into our original rhythm here because all the pay-per-views have come and gone. Wrestlemania has come and gone. So we're here to talk about the episode of AEW Dynamite that just went off the air, as well as the Deadlock Pro Wrestling show that was taped over WrestleMania weekend that aired last week. So good amount to talk about, as well as some World Wrestling Federation in passing. Before we get into TV, did you watch any of Collision? Because I did not.
Oh, no, I did not. I worked all day on Saturday, so by the time I got home, I was spent.
For sure. I only brought that up because I saw really good things about the FTR Kyle and Roddy match, and I was meaning to get to it, and I just did not. I wanted to make sure I thoroughly got through the DPW show, but that's what I'm trying to go back and watch for sure.
I heard that Roddy came out the end of Heartache, and I'm down with that. So, if that's true, sign me up.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad that they still have the rights to it. I would love to see a Victim of Target get played on national television before it's all said and done.
One time, please.
One time for the GOATs, but Kill Switch is by no means a consolation. I will always ride for that. That being said, AEW Dynamite, the April 30th edition, coming from the Chartway Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. This show anchored by two matches that were announced ahead of time. The first one that opened the show, branded as an all-star tag. This was the Elite and Ricochet against the team of Kenny Omega, Mark Briscoe, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. And I'm going to let you take lead on this one because I do have some thoughts. So if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I have zero notes on this one. But what I do have down is I started off with AEW loves their PWG 8-mans to open up a Dynamite. And then 5 seconds later, there was a Reseda comment, so I kind of went hand in hand with what I was thinking. Go ahead with your thoughts. I had nothing. I literally have nothing other than it was a spot. It was a PWG match to me.
I've been for AEW, supportive of AEW, constantly giving us the party match, right? And so far they haven't missed, but I will be honest, I think this one was not for me. And the reasons why...
Same.
Let me just get this out of the way. Why did this need 30 minutes?
I could tell you there's two people in the match that told you that it needed to be 30 minutes, brother.
And they got like 3 minutes dedicated to themselves.
Yeah, I have no idea. And we all get what it's building up to. It's everything. It's what we alluded to from episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they started their build too soon, and now they're just trying to figure out ways to get to it. I don't know, but this wasn't it for me.
Let's stay on that point though, because I was definitely thinking it too. They started the match with the Okada Kenny tease, and then I'm thinking maybe they won't interact. Maybe they're gonna just keep us hook, line, and sinker until it actually happens, right? Or maybe they even wait till Anarchy in the Arena, because that's clearly where this is going. But then they don't interact at first. Okada tags out right away. I'm cool with that. Like, okay, get people mad. Keep them on their toes. You want to see it happen. You want to see them finally lock up after all this time, and then it doesn't. So you have to wait for the match, right? But then they all just start jumping Kenny, and it's like the first contact. I know they teamed with each other. 2023 New Year Dash, Okada and Kenny were on a team. But the first time they're opposing each other, and it's like they're stomping him out for that first contact. And I almost feel like to tease it and then do that, it just kind of diminished it. And then they randomly got their own section of the match, which didn't bother me. It was nice to see them wrestling again, don't get me wrong. but it just felt very strange. And before this match, it was Kenny coming back to have that face-off with Okada, right? Then it turns into Okada trying to confront Kenny and Kenny ducking him. So there's these weird inconsistencies with the build so far. Maybe they are telegraphing it too early, but yeah, that was all very weird how that was handled. And yeah, I don't know. It just felt too long for what they were doing. It was a
lot of like comedy spots with the bald stuff, and there was just a lot. There was a lot of good moves I did like the tandem dropkick tombstone senton that we see the Bucks do mostly, but we did it with Ricochet and one of the Bucks. Can't remember which one was up there, but I mean, it didn't do it for me. And we all knew there was one odd man out in this whole match named Mark Briscoe who was going to take that pinfall. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
You know, and that didn't even make sense that you had Briscoe. Well, I guess because I don't know.
He's been in these matches.
Yeah, I was thinking more along the lines of like story purpose, but then why was Speedball and Kevin Knight there? Because they're few. I don't know. Whatever.
That more splinters off of. They had their Speedball especially had their beef.
Wait, they had their match with the Bucks too last week. Never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. So it all kind of just that classic AEW. We're gonna fold as much as we can together, which is fine.
And then Briscoe and Ricochet kind of had their thing. Okay, now we're getting. Yeah,
Briscoe and Ricochet wrestled last week. Yeah, it was kind of throwing everything together in one match, which is not unlike AEW.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was, and I just think this could have been done in half the time. And I think we could just chuck it up to this being for the people in the room more than it was for us, maybe, because obviously the crowd was loving it, and I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun if you were in the room for that one. But I don't think it came across on TV in the same way. So the odd miss on the AEW party match, in my opinion, but we move on. Curious to see where Ricochet and Speedball go from here, and Mark Briscoe to an extent, because by the time we get to Anarchy in the Arena, Kevin Knight's going to be wrapping up in Best of the Super Juniors, so I want to see where the other parts go, because we do know where everyone in that elite bubble is headed, so more questions than answers in that regard.
I got quick notes right here, bro. I did write down like pinpoints stuff, like right after the 8-man, there was the Hurt Syndicate just walking. They beat up like 4 people in the back.
Yeah, I stepped out. I came back into the room, and I just saw Lashley throwing somebody into that bin. And I'm like, oh hell yeah!
That was the best part, because he yeeted that man into that pillar.
Yeah, proper verbiage of yeet there too.
Yeah, that was hilarious, and then that was a quick little thing where they just discussed something that's going to happen later on with MJF.
Yeah, I knew. I couldn't remember if that was before or after the Ops match. Then we got the Ops squash, which I forgot Nick Camarado was still signed.
My notes here got Ops up next to do a quick little TV match. ... Holy shit, is that Nick Camarado? And then ... Holy shit, is that Rhett Titus? So
because I don't know, is he signed to a Ring of Honor deal?
Yeah, he's signed.
Okay.
I think he signed like last year. He was been there for a minute. Yeah, I remember hearing that he did sign with them with Ring of Honor. But hey, I fuck with Rhett Titus.
Yeah, me too. It was good to see him. Hey, and good for them getting the TV paycheck, you know?
All Night Express, baby. Come on.
There's a couple of those Ring of Honor guys I'd like to see more. Like, what's Tracy Williams up to these days?
Ew, Hot Sauce. Where has Hot Sauce been?
Yeah, the last I saw him was Bloodsport last year. But one of the non-Mania Bloodsports he got booked on.
And the other note I wrote is another multi-man match. Solid.
Yeah, that's, again, it's wasn't as egregious as last week where they put the two kind of similar tag matches next to each other. But this was definitely more of just a get them out there for the post-match, which Death Riders run in, cause a bunch of problems, and Joe calls out Mox with an awesome promo, although they had the camera like way up on his face and Joe was like spitting a lot, which was kind of crazy.
It looked insane.
But I mean, that's Joe, so I'm here for it. And Joe's the best, and in his screaming promos in the only way Joe can, ups the ante and say, we ain't doing this Death Riders bullshit. I'm fighting you in a steel cage. In Hoffman Estates, not Chicago. Thank you, Tony Khan. I'm still taking it personally. I ranted off the air before we get on to get it out of my system. Really sucks that I won't be in attendance for this one, but the floor of a Joe versus Moxley steel cage match is incredibly high. I can't see this being anything less than good. And I think the ceiling on it is like, I think we're talking something you might be discussing at year-end's time with this. It is just going to be tremendous, I think, and I'm excited for the match. Like I'm not gonna not watch the match, you know. Even if the result is a little bit predictable with the fact that this isn't going to be on the pay-per-view, and this is essentially a glorified Road 2 match to Anarchy in the Arena. But my goodness, what a Road 2 match. You know, reminds me of when they did Kenny and Mox in the cage before Anarchy in the Arena a couple years ago.
I forgot about that match.
And like, aside from all the screwdriver shenanigans, I remember that being really good. Kenny did the V-trigger and like knocked over the panel.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I didn't go back and watch that.
Yeah, it's pretty sick match, and
because that's one of the AEW always puts on a sick cage match though. So
they got a pretty good track record, man. Yeah, I'm excited for this, even though I'm also severely disappointed. But I mean, hey, I'm no stranger to missing shows. But that was that segment. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to say about it as we get closer to that one. And
I'm still 50-50. I don't know, man. I think maybe more like 60-40 now.
Hey, man, I ain't gonna hold it against you. I'd go. I mean,
I'm just like, the same factors as you discussed too are just kind of like, it is a Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, and then plus I would have to work all day and then drive from Michigan to home, then to Illinois. That's a lot of driving.
Yeah. Regardless, man. I fully support anybody going to see that match.
Support professional wrestling in general. I don't.
Yeah, no. I mean, only reason I'm upset is because it does not make sense. There's just no logistical way for me to get there in time. That being said, next we got another early in the show Nick Wayne Patriarchy promo. This has got to be the third or fourth in a row.
Yeah, I didn't write that part. I didn't write that down. I did see it. I just didn't write that part down because it was nothing really.
Yeah, it's hyping up. It's reminding everybody that Nick Wayne's in Best of Super Juniors, which is cool that again they're acknowledging the tournament on air. And Jay Lethal, a historic Ring of Honor television champion, calls his shot and wants a shot at the title. So that would happen later tonight, which that is a random matchup for Dynamite at this stage, but whatever. Onward.
Very AEW darkish, but hey.
Or like late 2022.
Yeah, that too.
It just felt right out of that, but I mean, they want Wayne on TV to.
And I'm not mad because like you said, I'm glad that they're acknowledging that he's in the Best of Super Juniors, and I like Nick Wayne. I'll have some stuff to talk about. Very little to talk about during the match, but
sure. They may have mentioned it for Kevin Knight. I don't know if they did this week. Rick Abani did last week, but then he also said that he's a heavyweight now, which that would mean he can't be in the tournament. But never mind. Onward. We got a video package for the returning to AEW Miyu Yamashita before her world title eliminator match against Timeless Tony Storm.
Yo, that was a solid video package, by the way.
Yeah, and
I feel they should do that for most. Like, if it's a new person, or not even a new person, but if it's someone that we haven't seen in a while, do that for your casual fans that don't know a lot or don't watch wrestling like that. I think that's a good look.
this messed with my concept of time because I could have sworn that like the Thunder Rosa match was last year, and it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, dude. We fast forward through time now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Or even like the Athena Ring of Honor match was over 2 years ago at this point. But this is an interesting booking decision because everybody was assuming that when she wraps up with Tokyo Joshi Pro, she'd be going to WWE. And then she had the match with Natalya at Bloodsport. So all signs are pointing to that. What this is telling me is that either they're actually going to sign her or they're going to put their world champion over her before she signs the WWE. So it's kind of a win-win for them. But the way she was presented before the match and during the match, I don't think this was like big leaguing anybody. I thought that she came off as a legitimate threat, and it was a pretty good match.
My buddy Josh that comes over every Dynamite we watch it. He goes, "Hey, they didn't give the Kenny Omega package to her, the Blake Christian treatment." I go, "Yeah, they actually kind of like gave it." That's what that was a really good. I liked it. Like for as much as I love AEW, but I was like they don't do a lot of stuff like that to like showcasing someone that hasn't really been here or that maybe people don't know. And, like, for a casual fan, if you want to draw more viewership, I think that'd be great. That'd be a great start.
It's always been, like, people they're going to sign. Or I guess the last time they really did it for somebody they didn't sign was Elio Del Vikingo.
Who's now...
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I thought they handled it well. And I thought the match was solid. I didn't really know where they're going to go with it because, if I'm not mistaken, Toni Storm does not have a pay-per-view defense yet. So, which Miyu did not win, so that still leaves that question up into the air. But this was good, and I appreciated that it feels like we've hit a nice, happy medium with the timeless stuff to where enough Toni Storm's able to come out during the matches, and it's not just the shtick. Because her first title run is timeless, like, it was a completely different... It was like a 180.
Yeah.
Completely different wrestler. Like, she, like, won the match, like, was, like, sticking something in her gear, and, like, all that stuff. A whole lot of shenanigans and whatnot. But this feels more like she's able to ride that line between the shtick and the zaniness, but then when it comes down to brass tacks, she's still putting on good matches. So I was happy with this. Altogether, just well done. Didn't blow anything out of the water for me, but for a TV match when you're featuring somebody else who's visiting, I thought they did a really good job.
Maybe it's because I watched I'm starting to slowly, because of you getting a little bit more Joshi.
Mm-hmm.
This was my match of the night. I said, I just liked it. I don't know what it was. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. But it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't Tony's best, but I think maybe it was the Joshi thing that I've been on a Joshi kick lately.
Yeah, no, that's awesome too. Miyu can be really good.
Because I remember seeing her in Bloodsport against Natalya, and I've seen her before at Ring of Honor. Like I just want to get more educated with a lot of the TJPW people and all that.
Yeah, Tej is interesting because they're owned by DDT, and I would say like 80% of their wrestlers are not like Yamashita.
Yeah.
She's very much more of a straight shooter, so to speak. Just the badass comes out, kicks people real hard.
Yeah. That's
not saying they don't have good wrestlers, but like they have a lot of like over the top and comedy stuff, and just it's just a different flavor, which is wonderful. Like I think you should have different promotions doing different things, so to speak. But I definitely think she's one of the more accessible if you're coming over from an AEW, or maybe if you've only seen Stardom, for example. This would be more. Her work would be more in line with that.
With Stardom, okay, for sure. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing on this. A lot of this Joshi stuff, though. I was like, I should have dove in a long time ago.
It's a good time right now because when you mentioned off air the Meiko show, like Sendai Girls just signed with Wrestle Universe last year, so now all their shows are on the service and stuff like that. So it's definitely becoming a lot more accessible, which is great.
Yeah, like it's around our age, right? Like it was hard to get stuff accessible, but now we live in a world of technology and streaming services, and everything's accessible, you know.
Dude, I've heard the stories of like during the first few years of Stardom, you had to like message this really sketch dude on Facebook to like see the shows.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, like so. Yeah, we've definitely come a long way. But going back to AEW Dynamite, Mercedes came out after the match, and I'm like, damn, she got a pre-tape and a in arena promo. And this was to more so hype up the tournament final, which I'm excited for. I didn't care for either Mercedes promos, and we've talked about that. She just has a real how it's written for her. That's how it has to be delivered.
Copy and paste, yeah.
Which I prefer something a bit more organic, which she's shown she can do in the past. But I think that's just more of a preferential thing on her part. Which, hey, I mean, clearly she's successful at what she does, so good for her. But as far as the Hater Mercedes match, yeah, count me in. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that one.
Then we cut backstage to Don Callis family, which was mainly just Don Callis shouting a bunch. They mentioned it in passing, I believe, in either the semi-main or the main event. We're getting Josh Alexander versus Brody King on Saturday.
Sign me up. I stepped out of the room for this segment, but I didn't hear that. But now I'm excited, so I'll be tuning in for that one.
Yeah, funny bit about this was like Don Callis was shouting. He's like, after this, we're gonna say his full name, Protostar Kyle Fletcher. I'm like, so is Protostar his first name? Is that his government name?
Yeah, it's Protostar Kyle and last name Fletcher.
So I was like, that was okay. Then top of the hour, we get to the Hurt Syndicate segment, and Big Bob's still not having it, man.
I wrote Hurt Biznikit.
Hurt Biznikit.
Because I kept calling him Hurt Business, and I was like, nope, that ain't it. I was like,
yeah.
But yeah,
so where do you think we're doing here? Do you think we're getting the MJF Bob singles soon? Because I have a thought. A hypothetical.
I'm glad you do, because I have zero idea what the hell is going on.
This might be on the pay-per-view, but I think I would rather have a tag title defense. So if they are treating the Hoffman show as like a, like TV special, right? I could easily see them doing MJF versus Bobby Lashley. And if MJF wins, then he gets into the group.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't necessarily see Lashley losing clean a lot during this run. So I think that would be not problematic, but tricky, when you have to appeal to your talent, So that would be interesting if they did that. I feel like we're getting an MJF Lashley match at some point. I feel like that would be the place to do it.
With the way that they've been interacting, yeah, I can see that now. That actually makes a lot of sense, because I have zero idea where it's going. He ends up with them at some point. But what's the payoff?
Clearly.
But what's the payoff?
Yeah, it's we don't have the full context yet, even though we've been doing like the same thing for over a month now, it feels like. But I think we're going to hit that breaking point next week, because you have one more TV until the special. And then after the special, it's go home Dynamite into Double or Nothing. So like, you got to start hitting your main points soon with the rest of the card, for especially for the pay-per-view, So I think that's where they're headed with that. I could be wrong. We'll see. But yeah, this was I'm just glad that they did not take like 20 minutes with this. Like it was like Lashley milked the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, but this was a lot more condensed than last week.
Yeah, well, it's because they had to knock some time off, probably because of that 30-minute opener.
Stokely Hathaway video package explaining his decision to join FTR, which again I'm here for. I'm really into this.
I love anytime Stokely's on my TV, I'm with it.
Yeah. He said, going back to last year, he was looking for a tag team. I don't remember when that actually happened, but I'll take his word for it.
I do remember when he was looking for it. He tried signing Private Party.
That's right.
Yeah, if you vaguely remember, he was sitting in the crowd with the fedora on, or not the fedora, but the little taxi cab driver hat on.
That's right.
And he was trying to sign teams, and like there was a video pack. I watched. I don't remember the video package, but there was a video package back then of him trying to find tag teams. He was watching DVDs. Like, he was watching clips of all these teams, and one of them was FTR, one of them said Private Party. So, like, he was looking for teams. A very long payout, but hey, here we are. But yeah, I'm happy, though. Don't get me wrong.
Me too. AEW does this sometimes where they'll completely drop something, but then every now and then they'll bring it back when you've completely forgotten about it. I think this is one of those.
Yeah, his name's Wardlow.
Yeah. Meltzer reported today he's actually having knee surgery.
Damn.
So, again, Meltzer, but like everything with a grain of salt. But I don't think he would lie about that,
Yeah, I was wondering. I've been asking where he's been at for a while now.
Yeah, so if those reports are accurate, hey, wish a speedy recovery to the War Dog. Next was the Ring of Honor television title match. Pretty impromptu, all things considered. Code of Honor was not adhered to, but Tony Storm and Miyu Imashita shook hands.
I just want to say, Nick Wayne came out to literal crickets. Like, I'm sad. Like, not a single, nothing.
Yeah, it feels like his incorporation has been not rushed per se. Like, he's been on TV for a while now. It almost feels like
this part feels rushed though. Like, this part feels like out of nowhere, ish.
Yeah, it has. Because I guess the way I want to put it is like, yeah, he has been featured along with Christian, but then it was like Christian's absent for the whole Revolution build. And then this all just seems so much to remind us that Nick Wayne wrestles because he has this tournament. But at the same time, they're featuring him on TV and he's going to be gone for a month.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm like, that was my main factor I wrote down when I said I wanted to talk. Very small factor about this match was you're showcasing him now, but he's going to be gone. And us wrestling fans have good memory, but if you're not on TV for a while, we're just going to forget. So you lose that. But I hope not.
Yeah, it might not even be a case of memory either. It's more of just like, you have to just drop whatever they're involved with because they're just not going to be there. And that same goes for Kevin Knight, even though I feel like they've really tried to, they've succeeded in featuring him since he signed. So, yeah, this just felt supplementary. Don't really have much to say on the match, but I get why they're doing it. And I forgot Jay Lethal, I didn't forget about Jay Lethal, but I'm like, I can't even remember the last time he wrestled.
Wrestled, I don't know, but he's been on TV with the whole Jeff Jarrett thing for that whole week when he was trying to go for a title.
Did you see his, interview lately?
I heard something. I heard, I heard his name brought up, but I can't remember what I heard it in.
Essentially, he was kind of shitting on MJF, and nobody really knows if it was in character or not. I'm like, ooh, it's kind of brutal, but that was the thing. Yeah, I don't know what happened with Double J because I wanted the Moxley match, and I know some people that sounds like a nightmare, but I think it would have been sick.
Oh, I was all for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why not? Shit, sign me. I do not have an issue with Jeff Jarrett, so I'm fine. I am also a low-key TNA guy, so hey.
Hell yeah.
Old TNA guy.
Then on the run sheet, it confirms that the Dynamite, the Beach Break match
It's just a regular match. Just a...
yeah, no. I'm good, bro. You know, that. Yeah. Yeah, they confirmed the steel cage match, ran through what is confirmed for the Double or Nothing card to segue into men's Owen Hart tournament semifinal. Kyle Fletcher versus Hangman. I was like not fully paying attention to this one, I'll be real. I was kind of checked out. But what I saw, I liked.
It was a good match. I was also in and out. I was putting my kid to bed. But I came back. I saw the ending. The ending sequence was good. I picked Fletch. Like, my pick was Fletch still after what we discussed. I said, why not give it to Ospreay and Fletch? But like you said, Hangman and Ospreay, like, that's
a big match, man.
Yeah,
that's a big match. And we didn't need a fifth Fletcher Ospreay match in like 15 months. That's right. Like you're averaging one every 3 months at that point. So,
but the way that AEW was building things, it kind of just we didn't know. But hey, I'm happy either way.
Yeah. No, I really thought they were going to stick to their guns with the rematches and do Statlander, Mercedes, and Ospreay, Fletcher, and they ended up doing the opposite, which I think for someone, like, if I'm buying the show, I'm more inclined to want to go out of my way to see those matches because we simply haven't. I know at least Mercedes hater his first time ever, and if Ospreay and Hangman, if they had a singles match, it couldn't have happened this decade, you know. Like it had to be a long time ago.
It had to be like old Ring of Honor, like when like Ospreay was a young guy, or sometime in New Japan maybe, or I wouldn't say PWG, but
I'm gonna do some digging here.
Why you do that?
I don't think they wrestled yet.
Yeah, I think that might be the first one.
So, there you go. 2 first time ever matchups. Correct me if I'm wrong, just because you never know with these things, or it's just like you don't think they've wrestled, like maybe they've wrestled once in a random tag in like 2018 or something. Yeah, or it just nature of the beast. But I'm excited for that. I think it needs. I don't know who's going to win this, and we could preview that when the time comes. What I did see from this match, though, the things that stand out to me, Fletcher was like doing some freaky style gestures early on, before he got his back cut open by the LEDs. Yeah. Like he had like a wound on his back for this match, which obviously emphasizes things. But I hope he's okay because it looked pretty gnarly. And then just some cool stuff like the spot where Hangman does the moonsault off of the barricade and then like rolls through the moonsault to do the tombstone on the outside, which was sick. And my brother bit on the near fall where Fletcher hit the low blow.
Oh, I bet too. Because, like I said, this match could have went either way, so I didn't really. Yeah. But, like I said, I was in and out. I gotta go back. I'm gonna go back and rewatch the full match because.
Yeah, I have to. I don't want to give it an assessment without having like a full-fledged opinion on it. Like I said, what I remember, what I caught seemed pretty cool, and I'm happy about the result. I will say that too. I'm glad there was no interference in any of Hangman's tournament matches yet. It would really suck if somebody does interfere with a tournament final because it's a tournament final. That should be a decisive result, no matter what, in my opinion.
Yeah. If anything, do it after the match, man. Don't do it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to set up for something, because I feel. You would assume that Jack Perry's eventually going to come back, right? The rest of them are here.
How long has it been at this point? Like
he's been gone for
5 months.
Yeah, 5 or 6.
Full
right?
gear. Full gear was late November, so yeah, 5 months.
And
that's a long time.
And he hasn't really wrestled anywhere else unless he's low key hurt or something. But
No, he did the Yota Tsuji match at the Tokyo Dome
Okay.
in January. In January,
That's right.
but that was still like 4 months ago at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, it's like about to be May, so 4
And
months.
then, like, you seen him on TV when they were, like, shredding up the papers or something for the Death Rider. Like, at the start of the Death Rider angle, he was on TV.
Mm-hmm. And
But
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't like, I've stated my opinions on him on here plenty, but it's like I don't feel like he's missed,
yeah, you don't need him, but
but he's going to come back at some point.
that's what I'm saying. He's gonna come back because, I mean, unless you don't, but like you set the seeds for him and Kenny
A long time ago.
and that's what I'm saying. And then like you just thought we were gonna like. I mean, most people might have forgot, but you were trying to implant that we were gonna get that match at some point. Not that it's gonna be a 5-star banger, but you would all signs point that he might. See, he's probably gonna end up showing up. But then,
I could see him running. I could see him running into Ring Anarchy in the arena.
That's what I was thinking too. Just like popping in. But yeah, well, who knows? We'll see.
Let's go back to Kenny real quick because he had like this blood feud brewing with the Elite to the point of like we were expecting him to just come back and kill Jack Perry, right? This was the first time he got to wrestle the Bucks since all that happened, and then they started doing comedy spots, and I felt that was just a little like tone deaf.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
That's the Bucks. We can't escape them, bro.
Hey, I liked their match last week.
Their match but see, but then they go and turn around. Like, and I get it. It's cool to have some comedy stuff, but like you said, this is a blood. Y'all don't get along at all. Like, this is on site.
Yeah, I think I'm more open to watching the Bucks wrestle regularly now that like the EVP thing is toned down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I don't want to just come out here like yo, if they're going out there and having fun matches, like I'm here for it. Like I'm not just gonna blindly hate their shit, you know.
If they're just going out there and wrestling, doing their thing, cool. Like I said, guess I'm still a Young Bucks fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Young Bucks fan of that EVP bullshit, but I'm a Young Bucks fan, so it's like, you know, that's what got me into like indie wrestling was the Bullet Club era. Like,
yeah, it's undeniable. like the impact they've left,
yeah.
And they're definitely one of the best teams of the 2010s. You know, so yeah, that stood out to me as just being weird, and obviously the Jack Perry thing feels like it's hanging over that a little bit because just like you don't want it to kill any momentum that they have going, like how.
They just get rid of Jack Perry, and then they just trade him out with Ricochet. Boom. That's all you need to do.
Honestly,
why not?
I'm not saying no.
Because like, I've advocated. I like Jack Perry. He doesn't need to be involved in this part because this is bigger than him. You know, like if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I also think I'd rather just the Death Riders dissolve than him join it at this stage.
Yeah.
Because if the match they're building to... We could tie this back into the tournament stuff. Because again, we'll have a lot more to say about it as we get closer to these matches. I'm excited for both finals on paper, being first-time matchups, and I actually think they're both pretty unpredictable. It's easy to assume that Mercedes is just going to win, but I think tonight's the first time in a long time that she's mentioned that she hasn't lost yet.
Yeah. I noticed that too.
Tony Khan booking Parallel Brain here. It was Double or Nothing 2023 that Jamie Hayter got seriously injured. So I could easily see her winning at this show. And who did she wrestle in that match in 2023? It was Toni Storm.
The redemption arc.
Mm-hmm.
I think they mentioned that too.
Yeah, so that seems like a fitting,
because they mentioned Monet being undefeated, and then at the end, or at the end of the women's match when they were when Hayter attacked Monet, they mentioned Tony and Hayter having history going back to Double or Nothing. So
Yeah, so that past exists. That history exists. And on the other side, I feel like Mercedes Tony is just the biggest possible match you could book for the stadium show. So I'm cool with either. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy that one. But
I feel like it's gonna be Monet.
I won't be surprised, but I will say this. Let me plant these seeds here in your mind. If it is Jamie and Tony, who could possibly challenge for that TBS title? Because I think we need the Athena rematch in the stadium. So, because there's a lot more meat on that bone that they did not get to in that first match, despite how awesome that first match was.
Yeah, true. My only fear is they won't do that.
Probably not, but hey.
But it's a good back. I mean, if they want, they want 2 good banger women's matches on the card.
You got options. It's good to have options. As far as the men's sides go, if they're doing the Swerve and Hangman tag team still, then it's got to be Ospreay, and I've kind of accepted that it's just going to be Ospreay. But on paper, it still seems unpredictable enough to be exciting. And even so, predictability in wrestling's not always the worst thing in the world. But I'm excited for both tournament finals at this stage.
Yeah, my pick is gonna be Ospreay, just because he called it months ago that he was gonna get his title shot here
before anybody, right?
Yeah. So but like you said, the predictability, they never know. Either way, you have a good main event. If you look, because Ospreay or Mox, Hangman Mox, either way, it's gonna be good. Hangman Mox, you get some. That's gonna be nuts.
They are tremendous together.
Yeah, that's why I said their matches alone.
They haven't missed. I mean, the one they had to call early because Hangman got the concussion. But I mean, outside of that, up until that point, I can't say that they've had a bad match together. So, and Ospreay and Moxley, they haven't wrestled each other on TV. They had the one match in New Japan. It was the first Windy City Riot.
Yep. I was there live.
Me too.
Hell yeah.
The old Odium, man.
Shout out. I miss that place.
They used to run ECW.
That's where they used to run their sick Ring of Honor shows,
and Ring of Honor, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was the last wrestling show there, so I was
Fun fact, I was sitting third row, and when Ospreay dove off their top, the Mox on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was terrified, because I thought he was going to fly out.
Man, yeah, I remember that match being pretty sick.
That whole card was awesome.
That was a really fun show. Yeah, I remember just it took forever to get into the building for me. The line.
The line
was not great.
I luckily got there early.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, there was really no long line, but we were walking to get in. We saw the cars.
Yeah, it was a nightmare getting in there, so I missed whatever pre-show matches were on. But I have a very fond memory of just walking into this dim indoor soccer venue, getting a Modelo the size of my head, and then I just look up and I'm like, oh, Yuji Nagata's wrestling right now. This is amazing.
Yeah, dude, it was.
And there was not a bad seat in that room either. So
not at all. And I
miss that place.
Dude, that place. Shout out to the Odium.
Well, that was AEW Dynamite. I would say, I mean, obviously, I don't have the most fleshed out opinion on the main event. I would say it was a step back from the last 2 weeks. I think they had 2 really strong episodes of TV. But they're going to have to pick up steam now. Because like I said earlier, whatever you're having planned for this TV special, you need to get there within the next week. And then after that, it's Double or Nothing season. So, by the way, they confirmed today, the night before Double or Nothing, AEW will be co-promoting with Action Wrestling and Secunda Kaeda for the sequel to last year's Dean, which was a memorial show for Dean Rasmussen of the DVDVR forums. It was probably the best. I mean, for most people, it was the best indie show last year. Now they're doing it again, and they will be following AEW's big shows, which is cool to see a major be involved like that and lend their talent like that. And this is all happening because Tony Khan used to post on that forum.
That's hilarious. Shout out to Tony Khan being a fan.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I just really wish he considered anyone south of the city who was planning on attending Joe versus Moxley. But yeah, it's turning into a bit now. But I'd rather laugh about it than be upset over trivial shit.
That you're a fan.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, man. But that being said,
you know what I hope for just one day. Like, I hope he brings up Blood and Guts to win trust. Give me that. I don't know how logistically that could be possible in that tiny ass arena, but they'll figure it out.
They might have to do that in Hoffman, or if they
we'll figure it out.
Or if they ever run the United Center again, you could easily do it there.
True,
but I don't know if they'll
a guy can dream
for a long time. Yeah.
At least I got to see one War Games in my life, so it's fine.
Yeah, because WWE announced that their next War Games will be where the Padres play, which it'll be sick. Like War Games outside.
Yeah,
I don't think they've done that since since
NWA,
Dusty was in
NWA days.
Yeah, so that'll be a really cool visual. Before we get into DPW and some other things, do you care if we take a quick break?
No, okay, ready?
We'll be right back after the ECW static transition. All right, we are back from our brief break. Before we get into Deadlock, what'd you catch from the World Wrestling Federation this week?
I literally caught nothing. It was nice out Monday. I said, you know what? I'm going outside. I took my kid to the park. But I did. Yeah. I read some stuff. I saw what happened on Raw. Nothing really too crazy happened, so I guess I didn't miss much.
No, I skimmed through SmackDown and Raw last night. The TLC match on SmackDown was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah, I did see that. I saw that. That's the only match I did see, and then I saw Aleister Black return.
Yeah, that happened too.
And then that was literally it.
TLC match was a lot of fun. I would recommend going out of your way for that one. It's always just begs the question, should that have been on Mania? Absolutely, but also that was 100% a fuck you performance from everyone involved.
All 6 of those men were mad as fuck.
Yeah.
So they went out there and said, we're going to just do this.
Yeah, I think it was a little long. I think there was some dead air, but overall, it was a good time. Speaking of guys in that match getting the short end of the stick, did you see what was aired for Speed today?
I did not.
This is like monkey's paw levels of curse, dude. They ran Alex Shelley versus El Grande Americano. If you ran Chad Gable versus Alex Shelley as a TV main event, I'd go.
Yeah, but
those are 2 of my favorite wrestlers.
But not this. No.
And then instead, it's you get the Americano gimmick with a 3-minute time limit throwaway match. I'm like, dude, just book that on TV, man. That'd be awesome. And the match is probably still good. I haven't watched it yet, but man, I don't know. I was really disappointed to see that because they both deserve.
To be fair, me trying to enjoy anything while Chad Gable is Grande Americano is rough. But I'm trying to see him as Chad Gable, so it's it's fine. But it's man, why?
Yeah, it's strange because they'll still have him. They'll still roll him out there in multi-match as Chad Gable.
Yeah.
To keep up with the bit, but yeah, I'm counting down till I'm assuming he'll lose his mask at that Worlds Collide show. So give it another month.
I'm gonna assume against Vikingo.
I mean, that would make sense.
Since Vikingo kicked him, but
On Raw, he did have that. He did have a interaction with Penta, so I think that might be the next feud, which would make sense given that he just wrestled his brother. But I would say only other thing from SmackDown, we were right about Nia being Tiffany's next opponent.
You were right. You called that on the head. I say, oh, I looked at that. I said, oh, my man called that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which make they still have to finish that feud. And I'm kind of here for the Orton Cena final match.
That promo in the beginning did not need to go that long.
No. I mean, I think that's when Cena's on TV, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, so I was like, because I remember I had to watch bits and pieces, but I was out Friday and they had it on, and I kept looking at the TV, and I'm like, man, this promo is still going on. Oh, okay. But
that'll main event Backlash in Randy Orton's hometown. The other matches for Backlash, I'll play devil's advocate for Becky Lyra, because Becky's promo on Monday made me feel way better about the whole situation, because she's immediately tying this into a Bayley feud. So Bayley getting cut was not for nothing, and I thought their feud in 2023 was bad, and when you see a Becky Lynch Bayley feud on paper, you expect a lot more out of it. So I think this is a good chance for them to get right on that. So I'm gonna be open to that. I think she wants to have the Lyra match to establish her on the main roster. So this works for me, and I just miss Becky Lynch being on TV.
They literally just did the Jade Cargill Naomi feud with Becky and Bayley now.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
it'll be dragged out that long, but yeah.
No, yeah, but in a sense, but I like Becky. I cannot find a single thing I like about this Lyra Valkyria. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, to each their own.
I said, I was like, she's probably good to some people, not for me. But
there you go.
Like you said, I am, like you said, it's more of a Becky helping to boost her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What I am excited about is Cora Jade and Julia on the main roster.
It was Roxanne.
Or Roxanne, I'm sorry, not Cora Jade, wrong one. Roxanne and Julia.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of them as a team.
Me either.
I thought the Rhea Roxanne match was cool. I appreciated what Roxanne was bringing to the table, trying to take all these different shortcuts, but while still working the vertical base to make up for the size disparity. Like that's good thinking.
We all know the money match, though. We want to see that Julia versus Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I'm still. The jury's still out on Julia in WWE for me, because I think all of her success in Japan was her just hitting as hard as she possibly can. And they have really they have just not figured out how she can pull her punches yet, so everything her striking has just not come off good to me. But it's still early days, there's still plenty of time to turn it around for her. What's confusing about them being on a team for me is Julia's basically, before she turned heel, which I didn't see, she's basically spent her first however many months in WWE feuding with Roxanne. So that just seems very sudden. Yeah. But again, it's different booking between the main roster and NXT. So that could just be miscommunication. The other two matches added to Backlash, though. Boy. This is rotten, dude. Jey Uso's first defense is none other than Logan Paul. They're doing fucking Gunther and McAfee.
So I don't know. I talked to my other buddy from Cali, and he said, "I promise to God, if they do a Gunther versus Pat McAfee match," I said, "Oh, get ready, because I guarantee you we're gonna get that match at some point." I didn't think it'd be this soon, but
I don't want to say scared, but I'm like, man, They could kill him.
If Logan Paul if fucking Pat McAfee beats Gunther, I swear to you,
After he tapped out to his own hold to Jey Uso,
I will fucking lose my mind.
To try to think rationally about all of this, right?
Yeah, I'm about to say, because on the other side of the spectrum, you could just have fucking Gunther choke the dog shit out of him.
Well, the way Pat was cutting his promo, I'm almost like, man, this might just be his last match. He's talking about dying and shit, whatever.
Right.
But go back to the Jay and Logan thing. I think that this is the Fed booking themselves into a corner because people are not happy about the Jey Uso stuff. I mean, obviously, people in the building still like him, and that's really... I mean, okay, I understand that. The thing with Logan Paul is that WWE people, and I mean, like, they only watch WWE, have flipped on him. So they're probably thinking, to get people behind Jay more, let's have him wrestle somebody that nobody can stand, right? But, like, that match is just like a nightmare waiting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The one good thing I will say is that after that match, I think we're done with the whole, oh, he's better than 90% of the roster and he isn't even a wrestler. It's like, yeah, we can put that to rest. Because that was never the case.
Somebody once told me that Logan Paul is better than Will Ospreay.
Dude, like, and again, I have my criticisms towards Ospreay, but I'm like, at least Ospreay fucking trained.
Yeah. And I just don't ever, like, old me but I don't try to argue anymore, but, like, about wrestling anyway, but, like, yeah, there's no way.
No, and the same goes for Pat McAfee, because he, I know he took the time to train, and he had the Adam Cole match and the War Games match and all that, but it's like people see celebrities doing a swanton, and then it's like, oh, they're good wrestlers. Like, no, they're athletic. Like, yeah. Pat McAfee was in the NFL. Like, I understand he kickers have different skill sets than other athletes, but it's like they understand what comes with the training regimen, athleticism, etc. Logan Paul's a boxer. It's like, but athleticism, and this goes to an entirely different argument with certain pro wrestlers. Athleticism does not equate to being a good wrestler, understanding what works in a wrestling match. So that's something that always irked me, to say the least.
Yeah, I've discussed my disdain for the Paul family, so.
Yeah, good luck getting booked in Japan, brother. But I could almost see the thought process behind having Logan Paul as Jey Uso's first defense. And one day I think he will win one of their world titles, unfortunately. Like, I just think they'll want to put it on him for the social media engagement, because that is important to them. I don't know why, like, I couldn't even tell you the thought process behind a Gunther-Pat McAfee match as soon as Gunther loses the world title. Unless it's like a squash, and like a mean squash, a violent squash.
And that's what I'm thinking, because you have to make him violent again. Like, because don't do it, WWE, do not do it.
Yeah, because there's certain things of where I'm always like, you have to remove yourself and say, WWE is not booking for me. They have their own target audience. I am not one of them. I watch WWE, and I enjoy WWE with things that on the shows, right?
Yep, that's what I do with most wrestling.
Right, you can find things to like, and it's another promotion. But man, that was like, after that first Raw after Mania, I'm like, okay, they're laying foundations for some things that I could be into. Cena Orton's one of them. Becky Lyra's one of them. The Braun Breaker main event push, that's probably going to take a year, but hey, I'm here for it, Jacob Fatu, I'm here for it. But then they just blindside you with, hey, Jey Uso's first defense is Logan Paul. Gunther's first match after losing the world titles against McAfee. It's like, dude, that's just brutal. But I don't have to watch it. I probably still will, out of sick curiosity. But that happened. I don't want to spend too much time on that though, because there were a couple things outside of the two major TV companies that we both really enjoyed, and I think we should spend the remainder of the show talking about those.
Let's do it.
So you watched the Meiko Satomura retirement match?
Yeah, I dove in. I saw some clips online, and I was like, let me check this out. Dove in, and because I'm a big Aja Kong fan.
Mm-hmm.
Love Aja Kong, because I love those just hard-hitting, like, ass beaters. So I tuned in, loved it. I love the part where Aja tried using her bucket, and she goes, "Come on, just one last time." You know,
it's like I'm never going to be able to do this again. Just let me fucking do it. And then they did.
And then she's like, "Just one last time. I'm never gonna be able to do it again." And and it was good. It was a good feeling overall. Good match. Emotional send off.
Oh yeah, man.
And for me, not knowing much, and like just seeing like the emotional send off afterwards, I was like, damn, man, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'll contextualize this the best I can, because I don't even know a lot about like 80s and 90s Joshi as much as I should. It's definitely something I plan on diving into. I need to wrap up my 2024 series before I start deep diving other things. But Meiko's one of the greatest ever, man. Like, she's been wrestling since before I was born, and she's still one of the very best. Like her retirement run was fantastic. The lineup was her and Manami, who is like 20 years old, is just making leaps and strides in her development, and just a massive spot for a 20-year-old to be in. And opposing them, Meiko and Aja have a legendary feud that I can't speak to because I haven't seen it, but I've only heard good things. And Chihiro Hashimoto was her other opponent, who was in the Yu Aoki match I sent you. One of Meiko's star pupil, who beat her for the world title in March, which was another tremendous match. And this was just like as perfect as it could have been. For at least the context that I've had. And man, that ceremony, dude, I've seen a lot of retirement shows. I can't remember one where they sent like, and this just speaks to how awesome Meiko is and was. Like, all the heavy hitters from that era, like, individually gave her flowers. Kenta Kobashi dubbed her the Yokozuna of Joshi wrestling.
Yeah, that was fucking hard.
Yeah,
it was. You've seen everyone. You've seen your WWE representatives, Asuka, was that Kairi Sane, Io, and then Nakamura too.
Yeah, and Shin too. Yeah, and then President Tanahashi as well. I got real emotional seeing Tanahashi because I'm like, man, everybody's leaving.
And Bull Nakano, one of my ultimate favorites.
She looks great.
I'm saying she looks great for her. Like, solid, man. When I seen her, I was like a few years ago during the Hall of Fame for WWE and everything. Mm-hmm. When she was around for WrestleMania weekend, I said, "Man, she looks really good."
Yeah, good for her, man. But yeah, that was a very special night. I didn't realize how early that actually aired because we're on a 15-hour time change, and that show actually started at like 9 p.m. Central. So I watched it. I watched the semi-main and the main event. And, they added the handicap match afterwards. 5 more minutes. You always want that, All right, I'm not going out yet. 5 more minutes. But that was one of the better send-offs I can remember. I think that's right up there with Sting's. Honestly, like, it was fantastic. And I think as I go back and I start experiencing the whole timeline for myself, I'll only get to appreciate it more. That's the best thing, I think there's always that apprehension of just, I haven't seen something, or I don't know who these people are. But the best part about wrestling is like, finding them out. You get to experience that, like, have a fresh new experience of all this great stuff for yourself, and that's what keeps you coming back, you know?
Yeah, like that, like me right now, like I'm experiencing, like I'm diving into Joshi, you know, so I'm experiencing all this new stuff for the first time. Like, I know, like, the heavy hitters, like Aja Kong, Bull Nakano, all the ones that came when I was in the Fed, you know, growing up, because they were there on TV, but I didn't know they were from Japan, and know, like, anything about, like, Joshi wrestling until, like, you know, I grew up. But now, like, going into it, I'm looking a lot into, like, AJPW from, like, the 90s, you know, because, like, that's when, like, all the stuff that I want to see happen. You know,
Yeah.
like the Bull Nakano cage match, oh man.
Yeah, like the Big Egg show and all that. Like the 8-hour show in the Dome. Yeah, there's a lot, and I look forward to walking that path, seeing everything. Meiko's very important, though, because, you know, she debuted in 95, and she persisted through the 2000s when essentially, like, Joshi wrestling took a massive hit in the 2000s. But she kept going. You know, she started Sendai Girls. Like, that's her promotion. She trained all these up-and-comers right now. Or somebody like Hashimoto, who is, in my opinion, she might be the most complete pro wrestler on the planet right now, if you watch her stuff. Like, so, her impact is immeasurable. And, despite getting into it so late at this stage, thankful to be around to see it. Yeah, well, a tremendous show. Go check it out from Sendai Girls. They're now in Wrestle Universe, so you could see everything from the last year. You can watch Meiko's entire retirement road on there. That being said, you want a hog dip?
That's hog dip, my friend.
DPW title fight in Vegas that aired on April 23rd. This was taped on the Friday night of WrestleMania weekend. It might have been in the middle of the day, but it was the Friday of WrestleMania week. General thoughts, I had a great time with this show, man. I don't think DPW has missed in 2025. I think they hit a nice sweet spot of where there was enough important stuff. You know, obviously they crowned a new world champion on this show, and they blew off one of their better feuds this year. But it feels like, especially in that main event, they were showing you where they were going next with everything after Mania weekend. So I think this was a very efficient show from a booking standpoint, and there were some really good matches on here. So do you want to start from the top?
Yeah.
Oh, opening match: Magenta versus Masha Slamovich and Queen Aminata, the Marvelous Girls, on the losing end in 12 minutes and 56 seconds. I like this. I think they got a lot of time for what it was, because it definitely broke down into a crowd brawl. But this is actually building to something insane, because I think Masha and Queen Aminata could have a really fucking awesome match.
Yeah, for sure. Like, good to see Queen Aminata back. No, she was, I think, out for injury, you said. But this was the first time I think they teamed up, right? Masha?
I believe this was the first time they were a team, yeah.
Yeah, but I want to see them wrestle. Like, they're and that promo that they cut after, that Masha cut afterwards, I gotta but what happened during that promo was funny. No, not that one. It might have been, was that the one I was thinking
Oh, the
of?
Danny Luna one.
That
Yeah.
one. That one was funny.
So this applies to the Danny Luna promo. The show actually opened with Hyon putting a bounty on her. So Hyon, I'm surprised she wasn't on the show, because she was very active this weekend.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed her work. But nonetheless, yeah, this was a fun match. I think what this set a nice tone of making this really feel like a Mania Week show, because you have some names and faces here that you might not get on every show in the Armory, for example. And it was really cool how this match worked out, because I think it disarmed you a little bit. You know, Magenta, every match they come out there and they do their dance routine. These are guest combatants from the Marvelous Joshi promotion. which is Chigusa Nagayo's promotion, if I'm not mistaken. One of these ladies was trained by her. The other was trained by Yumiko Hota. So these are like Yumiko Hota rather. So these are like descendants from that timeline we were just discussing previously. And despite them, coming out doing the dance routine and all that, they're a couple of ass kickers. They're doing some cool submissions, and that pairs incredibly well with Masha and Queen Aminata because they're two of the hardest hitters in like the American women's wrestling scene right now. Which explains why this broke down into a crowd brawl, But fun opener, and I think seeing some names and faces you won't normally see on like every DPW show, it made it feel special for Mania Week, so this worked for me.
Yeah, it felt like a mega show, like a super show, more or less.
Yeah. Which then the Masha promo played after setting up the Aminata Masha match, which, dude, I'm so here for it. That's going to be awesome when it does happen.
Sign me up for that one.
Match number 2, Laredo Kid and Rey Oros versus Arez and the Beast Mortos. Mortos and Arez take this in a flat 10 minutes, but man, was this a lot of fun.
This match ruled.
This was awesome.
Anytime I see Mortos, I'm tuning in. I'm dialed in. But this match, I'm a good Lucha. Lucha Libre is... That's one thing I want to dive into now, but like I don't want to overwhelm my brain.
Yeah.
But, like...
it's easy to do, too. Like, there's so much wrestling.
So I was like, but I've been like a big luchador guy ever since like the late WCW, or early WCWs. But man, Mortos, that's my dog. Strap him up with a belt somewhere.
Yeah, great base for especially the team they're facing. Like Laredo Kid and Rey Oros doing some real nutty stuff in this match. But so we talk about like setting the tone in the first match to make this feel like a WrestleMania weekend show, and you need a good lucha fireworks show. This fit that very well. I had such a great time with this one. And at 10 minutes, it's such a easy watch,
Yeah, because during Mania weekend, you had a lot of lucha. But this one didn't seem like this was a good, nice, brisk lucha match. Like, not like I would compare it like GCW does matches like this too, where they'll do like lucha multi-mans. But they tend to drag out a little bit more longer. But this one, good 10 minutes. Solid.
Yeah. I saw clips of like that nutty like 6-on-6 match where they did like the suplex standing on top of everybody.
Yeah, that was nuts. They
flew in a couple of guys from IWRG, which is a promotion I like to watch, like Latigo Toxin and de Canis Lupus, which I still did not get to that, but I sure as hell got to this, and I really like this match. I mean, like, just look at the names. Like, it's going to be exciting. They're going to be doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and for 10 minutes, that's all it needed to be.
Yes, sir. Certified hog dipped in.
Yeah. My only thing I had in my notes for this was just all caps fun, because it was.
Yeah.
Then that went into the DPW Women's World Title Proving Ground match. Takumi Iroha defeated Dani Luna to earn herself a title shot. I was not expecting this because I just thought she was more supplementary to feature Dani Luna, and like you had Marvelous in town for their own show. Anyways, Magenta were on this show. It just made sense. And Iroha at this stage is a safe pair of hands, But this set up a future defense, which I'm assuming was on the Japan shows.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I have Cage Match here. I'll pull this.
Yeah, about to say I was gonna go on a limb and say that it had to have been.
So on the first night, Dani Luna actually defended against Tokyo Joshi Pro's Rika Tatsumi, which that actually sounds awesome. And then she defended against Rina Yamashita on the second night. So this Iroha match actually might take place in the States.
Solid.
I can't wait to see those Japan shows when they make tape.
Yeah.
Or they are taped. They've made tape. They're just not out yet.
You gotta air them.
Yeah. We'll get to those when they're out, because boy, am I excited with some of the names on those. But we had a lot here to talk about yet in Vegas. But yeah, fine match. I could tell they were holding back, so I think it made sense that this was just to set up the title defense.
The preview match,
Yeah, but it kind of muddies the water a little bit because this High On feud is not done yet. If she's, buying hits,
Yeah, I wonder, like, if it leads to, like, someone that hasn't really been around, like, hasn't been in DPW. I don't know who. Like, maybe Nicole Matthews or something.
Well, Nicole Matthews was the one who jumped.
That's what I
Dana
said,
Luna
like,
in the promo.
Just hanging out. Hanging out. You didn't see her back there, Danny?
I think it's awesome, too, that at least anytime she's got, like, a DPW promo, she's sipping on red wine.
Yeah.
Nicole Matthews rules. Wonderful technician. I think that'll be a cool match, too. Like, this Dana Luna title reign, I think, is really exciting, and I think they've really needed, like, a lights-out women's title feud. Or not feud, but like a title run. When I say lights out, I don't mean the match, but like, not that they haven't had good women's matches in the past, but it feels like they've really gotten some momentum this year, starting with the High On feud and now into, you have Iroha lined up, you have Matthews lined up, which I think the Matthews defense I'm really excited for. And I want to see what that Tatsumi match looks like on these Japan shows, but like I said, a lot going on in that women's title scene, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah. That got into next, Leon Slater challenging LeBron Cozone for the national title match. I thought this was great.
I'm a big, this is my, other than watching DPW, I've seen LeBron live when I went to the Chicago show.
Yeah.
Seen him live there, and then seeing this match, I'm like, man, I'm a ball game. I'm sold. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right.
last year was really where he established himself in DPW. And he's carried that momentum very well. And I think what this match did efficiently was not only continue the run he's been on, but I feel like DPW's been trying to get their hands on Leon Slater, and this was a fantastic showcase. He had a
sidebar.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That's while we're talking about Leon Slater. Let me sidebar.
I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay. Why no one catch the man?
For those who don't know what we're talking about,
the only person that tried, and I hate to say this because I don't like him, is Top Dollar. That was the only person that tried to save that man.
So, for context, at the last TNA show,
Rebellion.
At TNA Rebellion, they did the Ultimate X match where they have these big pillars making an X with ropes to where you Google it. It's like one of their signature matches. But Leon Slater is a high flyer by nature, and he did on paper a really sick spot where he did a 450 swanton off of these like 10-foot pillars above the ring, and unfortunately, Matt Cardona and Moose totally fucked it and just got out of the way, and this guy landed right on his arm from that height. With a full rotation midair, mind you. Yeah, that was nasty. And then Moose hit everybody with the, well, you guys have never taken a bump before. Like, this didn't take place inside the ring.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a bad situation. I don't really have much to say on it other than, like, I can't say what it's like to be in that situation. Sure. I've never taken a bump, but, like, you run through these before the match. You know what I mean? This all gets greenlit on the premise of you're there to take care of your opponent, you know?
I don't even, like you said, we don't know what it's like to be in that position, but like,
and it's live, shit happens, but at least on the footage that we have of both the broadcast and people's phones,
my man smacked his face.
It looks terrible.
And I will say,
it looks really bad.
AJ Francis was he's the biggest one there, but he was the one trying to save him.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I don't like the guy, but.
So yeah, Leon Slater, we hope you're okay.
God, I hope you're all right.
On a much brighter note, this was an insane showcase for him, though.
And before the concussion, we had this match.
Yeah. Okay, did they confirm that?
No, I was just assuming.
Okay.
It looked nasty, man. It just...
Yeah. because from the way I saw it, because again, I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's been discourse to smithereens, and it's a brutal scene. But to me, it looked like his arm broke his fall, and I'm like, from that height, brother, like, oof.
Fingers crossed for you, my friend.
Yeah. We're hoping for the best for Leon Slater, because from what we got, especially out of this show, it looked like he had a lot of momentum behind him, because I thought he was really good in this match. I thought he blended the high flying well with what the match called for, and it felt like this nice pendulum of he would hit these really high impact, like high flying sequences balanced out by Kozone's ground game and Kozone's hard hitting nature. Especially, man, those lariats in this match.
They were. I can't. And he went to Japan too. Who did he wrestle?
Oh, 1 second. I think one of the astronauts, actually.
That's yeah.
Which I can't wait to see that.
That's what
okay, so night 1, Chris Brooks and Hiroshima take on Calvin Tankman and LeBron Kozone.
Yeah, sign me up. Let's go.
Yeah, Hiroshima is one of my favorite wrestlers.
Chris Brooks is great, so
yeah,
I'm good.
And we've waxed poetic about Tankman plenty.
Indiana boy, we got a rep.
Yeah, and then on night 2, Kozone defends his title against one half of the astronauts, Takuya Nomura, which, dude, that sounds amazing on paper. I can't front. I don't know how familiar you are with astronauts.
Not at all, but if you're excited, I know it's going to be a banger, so I'm down.
So Abe did a match in DPW.
I remember Abe with against Roddy.
Yes, so he's one half of the team with Takuya Nomura.
Okay, and
they are both like shoot style battle arts enthusiasts. I know battle arts isn't technically shoot style, but like that's shoot adjacent. No, like that's a big thing.
Tomato. You know what I'm saying?
But
no one says tomato.
They are raised like on that stuff, so they are like as fast and hard hitting as you could want. So I'm really excited for that. I don't want to keep just saying holy fuck these Japan shows, but dude, on paper these cards look insane.
Well, and that's what I like. Well, in all honesty, like Deadlock, if you listen to the boys, they're all about like the ass beaters, so like they're gonna get the hard hitters when they can. So I'm like, I knew them Japan shows are always crazy. So
and Abe's actually wrestling Adam Priest on the second night.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And I think that pairs nicely because Abe is a bit more like shtick heavy than Nomura.
Yeah.
So that pairs nicely with Priest's just general shithousery. Also on that card, there's another tag with Tankman's opposing Kazusada Higuchi, which, dude, I got to see these shows. But let's talk about the one that we do have on tape here, because the two final matches on this Vegas show I both enjoyed, but the semi-main I thought this might have been the best match I've seen from WrestleMania weekend, in my opinion. That being the Grizzled Young Veterans successfully defending against Violence is Forever in 1845 in a Sin City street fight. Kevin Koo's blade job was fucked up, man. In the best possible way.
This match, I watched it twice. I watched it because I did a full run, did the DPW, and I was like, I need to go back and watch that again. Holy fucking shit!
Go ahead.
There was just a picture, not a picture, but there was I can't remember where it was, but there was a spot in the match and Koo was just covered in blood. Oh, it was the part where he put he put an X on his chest. But the way that he was standing there and the blood was just dripping down his face, and he did it. Put that on a shirt. Give me that. I
didn't spot it, but I think someone said like, was it like Garini's blood was like clotting on the mat? Like
I didn't check. I didn't notice that either. Now I watched it a third time. Now I gotta go back.
Something else to go look for. But what I will say is, in matches like this, I love when it is just like a yard sale in the ring. So to get to the blade job by smacking them with the case full of poker chips, and then a chain got involved, and then there's just blood everywhere, I'm like, yes, this is like the exact setting this needs to be taking place in. I said on my Twitter in my match recommendations thread, which, hey, James Drake engaged with that. He retweeted it, which was really cool of him. You get bonus points when I can see the blood on the ring ropes.
There was blood everywhere. It was a massacre.
Holy shit, dude! Visually, this was insane. We're not even talking about the wrestling.
Yeah, like
the punches thrown in this match.
This is the definition of street fight. This is it right here. Like, they started from the go. There was no rest hold. There was nothing. It was just straight ass beating. But that I can't get over it. There's just it was literally a massacre. Like, daddy daycare level of everywhere massacre. You know. Don't let
anyone tell you that blood can't improve the match.
Yeah, this one,
because this, like, it didn't make the match. Like, but it definitely added to it.
It added a lot to it, because, like, you could have still had this match without the blood, still have been great, but
just visually, like, it looked insane, and it was just a roller coaster. Like, pile drivers through tables, some of the shit into the seats. Like, I don't have like a in-depth analysis on this one, because the whole time it was just like a complete adrenaline dump.
Yeah, it was literally a car crash at every second, because like the spots in it, like the total elimination with the fucking chairs.
With the chain or the chairs? Yeah, they didn't want the chain.
I know they did. Well, I know the GYV did one with the chairs though. They did a high low, and that part I said, oh, right to the knees, like, yeah, they did do one with the chain too. Yeah, and it was just a solid. I recommend, if you had the means, to go check this out. Like,
yeah, 100%. This was, to me, it was match of WrestleMania weekend. One of the better matches of 2025 thus far, I would say too. I did not expect like a brawl to be better so far than like last month they ran El Hijo del Fishman against Demus in the Junkyard, and that was the match where Demus was like drinking beer while he's getting choked. Like, that's his own monster in and of itself, but I did not expect a brawl to come so soon that, like, I thought topped it. And this was insanity. And again, I'm sorry I don't have the most thorough feedback on it, because I was more just like lizard brain the whole time. Like, just
my shit
just
was
taking the ride.
That's what I said. I guess I watched it twice, and I don't take notes when we do these. I kind of just freestyle from what I can remember off my top of my head.
Yeah.
Watching that match twice, 100% one of the top matches of the year for me, for sure. This, and like, where do you go from here? Like, VIF, or who's going to be next in line, you think, for the tag title? Or tag title shot, at least.
Well, that's interesting, because there weren't like a lot of canonical DPW tags on the show aside from these two, because like the Lucha match was very much like its own self-contained thing, and then it was like, then the other tag match was a women's match. So it's very interesting to see. We can talk about what happens next, especially after we get into the main event. But if you don't mind, if we could just take one more quick break.
Sure.
So then, closing out the show, the 12-man Ultimate Conflict for the vacated DPW World's Championship, being delayed entrant battle royal, but the match could end at any time with a traditional fall. And for that premise, and for how many people were in this match, I actually think they did a really good job with this. I think there was some meandering in the middle of the match, but again, for all the moving parts, for the rules, and for this being a half-hour-long match, I would say it was a success.
I loved it. I loved this type of match when AEW switched to this format to do the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for DPW's first time doing this. Like, other than, like you said, like the middle of the match kind of seemed kind of mistimed, if I guess would be the word.
Yeah.
But other than that, I liked it. Had all the heavy hitters from DPW in here, starting off with my man BK Westbrook. Let's go.
Yeah, I made sure to get the I didn't take notes on the whole match because I mean that would be like its own episode.
Yeah,
but,
it's like a Royal Rumble at that point.
Right. But Westbrook and Alexander started it off. I think they wanted, some real fast action to get things going. But they did some really smart things with the booking here. Because then immediately Trevor Lee comes in. And naturally, Calvin Tankman comes in. Because you missed the March show, right?
I saw what happened, though.
Okay, yeah. So they started getting into it after their awesome tag match, by the way, with Tanaka and Carino.
Yeah, I seen Trevor Lee slap the shit out of him. So
yeah, and Tankman ain't gonna let that slide. So they continued to develop their feud, which I'm assuming we're gonna get another match soon. And their match last year was fantastic.
I gotta go back and watch that one.
It was in September, I believe.
Okay. Like we said earlier, big Tankman guys over here, Indiana boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Trevor Lee guy too, so yeah, I'm down to watch that match again. I guess I want to go back and watch that match from September, and then I need to go catch up on the ones I haven't seen yet. But, yeah, like I did see. Like I said, I seen Trevor Lee slap Tankman, so we're gonna get that match. Probably like their next one, right?
I'm thinking so. Nothing's been announced other than the fact that Cedric is booked for the show, which that's that fits like a glove.
Yeah, it's awesome. Shout out.
Yeah. So then after that, it was I say this loosely, but it's like the European flair to it because Thomas Shire isn't European, but I feel like he works in Germany more than anything in WXW. But it was Luke Jacobs, Michael Oku, Thomas Shire, all in succession. And I think this is where things kind of blurred together a little bit. But before the next entrant, I was dying when Trevor Lee's standing there when it's counting down from 10 and he's just doing this like come on gesture over and over and over again. And then Matt Dog Connolly's music started playing. It was so perfectly done to where it's just the perfect smarmy heel is just like about to eat shit. But what they did with this, they built to a Mad Dog Matt Tremont match. Which, that's going to be insane.
Yeah, that shit's gonna fuck.
That is going to be insane, and I cannot wait for that. Are you familiar with much of Mad Dog's work?
I seen a little bit of it he was in, is it New Jersey? No,
he's been mainly working, like, Midwest indies.
Okay.
Like St. Louis and Illinois.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but yeah, I want to say I've heard that name before.
He's been making waves, on the Violent People 100. He made top 10. He had it's like a cult classic now against Damus last year on the first Dean show. They had a dog collar match, which famously the promoters were yelling at them to get into the ring because they were throwing each other into the fans. One of the gnarliest trash can spots I've ever seen as far as just the speed of somebody throwing it at another human being's head. I'm going to send you that match because I know Mad Dog will be on the next Dean show, which is, again, co-promoted by AEW, is the night before Double or Nothing. So he is just, like, he's becoming, like, a cult hero in his own right. And I don't want to say he's, like, one note, but he is just, like, a brawler through and through. Okay. And, they call him the king of the dog collar. He likes a good dog collar match. He had a really awesome feud with Manders on the Independents last year.
I want to say he's wrestled on DPW before, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that's where I heard
a couple of times, sparingly.
Maybe that's where I heard his name at, like when they mentioned it on the podcast. Maybe that's where I heard his name.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, I'm about to check him out, man.
Yeah, no, I think by the end of this year, he's going to only elevate his stock.
In 2024, he wrestled Abe, so hey, shout out. I'm on his cage match right now. So.
Yeah. But yeah, him and Tremont, that should just be madness. It was great seeing Brian Keith back.
Yeah, I popped for that one, man. Bounty Hunter, let's go.
Still tipping. Him and Tankman's exchange was awesome, and the commentary alluded to that they have some unfinished business, but I don't know how much Brian Keith's actually. I feel like they don't get to use him as often since he joined the Learning Tree.
Yeah, that was his first time on DPW since. What, you already know? No, he was probably on that one after.
Like a show, maybe one of the shows in Texas, like earlier last year.
So last year. Yeah, I just wish they would do something. Get him away from the Jericho Vortex. Let him do his thing.
I mean, he hasn't been on TV, so maybe DPW can borrow him for a little bit.
Please, give me a Tankman Brian Keith match too.
That'd be sweet. Commentary, I think we're kind of leaning into that, whether that's on the table or not. But last and certainly not least, I love that Priest came out last and won. That's such a shitty thing, and it fits him perfectly. And to eliminate Tankman last,
he made him tap.
Yeah, that was a huge moment. And did you hear him what he said at the end?
You got to remind me because.
Oh, he was just talking shit to the camera, and he was just like, "Yeah, 180 pounds with 30 pounds of dick."
I love Jamie Noble 2.0. No, I'm just fucking. But when I seen him on when I saw clips of him, when I watched DPW, but seeing him live is what sold it for me because he's just a shitbag, and it's great.
And everybody's committed to actually treating him as such.
Yeah,
it's not a tongue-in-cheek thing. Which that's more of an issue with just modern wrestling in general. Just there's a lot more ironic crowds than anything, but there's definitely a genuine aspect to when Priest is working. He's committed to it, and then when the crowd commits to it too, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up Jamie Noble because on our first show, I got the Grizzled Young Veterans names mixed up. So it's Zach Gibson and James Drake, and I actually said James Gibson.
Yeah, so. I didn't even catch that. Oh, well.
Yeah. Hey, man, honor is forever, But,
forever.
But just very exciting stuff that they accomplished all in this one match. Because now you have an Adam Priest title reign to look forward to. Now you have Mad Dog versus Matt Tremont to look forward to. Now you have Trevor Lee and Calvin Tankman to pick things back up. And from the Chicago show, because he hasn't been around, he wasn't around for this, but from the Chicago show, I got the impression the direction was going to be Colby and Priest.
Yeah, after that 3-way.
Mm-hmm. So
maybe
I'd be on board for that during this reign, and I'm just excited in general. Again, DPW hasn't missed. I actually still need to go back and watch the January show with the Manders Priest match. That was very well received. But from February onward that I've watched, and damn near everything in 2024, I still got to get through the anniversary show. They've just continued this run, man. It's very exciting. This was the Mania show that I felt was missing from the weekend, and it wasn't missing. It was just on tape delay.
This was Dark Void for Supercard.
Yeah, and I think they're in a position to only continue. Man, what more can we say?
Oh, I got one more thing.
Yeah.
Did you see the rating for Butterbean and Minoru Suzuki?
Didn't Dave give it negative 457 or something?
Some weird shit, and Suzuki is pissed.
Damn, really?
That's what I heard. Yeah,
I didn't think I know some wrestlers care about whatever the star rating is.
And I'll take that with a grain of salt that he's pissed. You know what I'm saying? It's just what the internet says. But
just because it's like it's Suzuki at this stage. Like
he's still a legend. He's still the GOAT. Whatever.
That is strange, but
like seeing that, I was like, that's the one thing I was like, on paper that match looked weird, and then you made it into like a round base thing because Butterbean can't
with
move.
No finish.
Yeah, but Butterbean can't move anymore. Well, you should have thought about that. Like,
yeah, that was. I mean, I watched that match. I didn't think it was the worst match I've ever seen.
It was those WrestleCon shows are just made for entertainment value anyway. It's not made to put out like 5-star banger. You know what I'm saying? Like they do have good matches on them, but that's all because it's all the people that are at WrestleCon. They're gonna get them all together in the ring and see what happens, kind of thing. It's just for entertainment.
Yeah. Overall, though, very optimistic about DPW. I got a wrong to right next time they're in the city. Because I definitely don't want to miss out again.
No, don't worry. There's going to be 2 extra seats next to me and my boy, so we're going to be 4 rows deep. We're going to be there.
Yeah, man. It's going to be...
Yeah, they're like all gas, no brakes from the start, you know, and they're only going to get better. They're literally, probably my favorite indie.
No question. To me,
it used to, like, honestly, like I said, it used to be GCW because they were not like the deathmatch stuff, but they had good wrestling on the side of it. Like Cardona helped them like branch, you know, to be that, but now like they kind of just fell back a little bit. DPW took that spot. It's just like they have all my favorite wrestlers are there. Like they're people that I've never seen before from like different areas, the Carolina region. Like you're showing me people that wrestled in the Carolina scene who are now on NXT. You know, like Javon Evans is, you know, that's.
I think I saw something like Kozone has like 15 years of experience, and I never heard of him until last year.
And that's what I'm saying. I've never heard of him until DPW put him on, and like so, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I didn't get in on the ground floor. I want to say I was in like 2023. I started paying attention, but I'm glad I did because it feels like something special, and it's like something I always look forward to. And like I've been burned enough by the majors at this stage that it's nice to have that to look forward to and to fall back on. But then it just ends up being better than everything else. So I'm like, hey, why not? Like that's it's wonderful to have an indie that's accomplishing that right now. So credit to the Deadlock boys. We'll be here to talk about the Japan shows when they air, and then they have announced their April show from the Armory, which again, the only thing announced at this moment in time is that Cedric Alexander will be on the show. And I want to see who he's facing because they've already announced the Trevor Lee match is happening on the joint show with Prestige and West Coast that's happening in Los Angeles in June. So we have a Trevor Lee Cedric Alexander match to look forward to in about a month and some change.
Should be a good match though. Cedric.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward. I want to see the Cedric. People are like already doubting him, and I'm like, we just don't know what he is because he didn't get to wrestle over the last couple of years very much.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for that one. I guess there was a lot of rumors that he was going to pop up with the Hurt Syndicate boys, but I don't think
he still might.
Yeah, like and it's still possible, but let him do his indie run. Let me see a SETI indie run real quick.
Yeah, I think he's a great fit for Deadlock, and I'm not gonna like be a detractor before I've even seen where he's at because, like I said, he just did not have opportunities to work. So I want to see what he has, and
the only time he got an opportunity is when he was with the Hurt Business,
and that was 5 years ago.
Yeah, and even then they got overshadowed because you had Lashley and Shelton with them. Like,
yeah. So. Lots to look forward to. I think next week it'll just be TV.
TV and whatever else we come across during the week.
Yeah, so we will be back to discuss AEW Dynamite, the May 7th edition.
Oh, my friend did text me while we were on air, and Hog Wrestling is coming to Chicago. I might indulge. I'm going to try to knock off as many promotions as I can this year.
That'd be cool. I think they were here earlier. It was either earlier this year or late last year when they did
want to
Ricky
say
Starks, Santana.
Yeah, that was like January, February.
Mm-hmm.
We missed it. This time it's Zilla versus Zilla versus Matt Riddle. So I don't know if I want to do that.
Interesting to say the least.
I like Zilla, but Cedric's on that show too.
There you go.
Cedric versus Santana. Okay, all right, that might be
a wait and see on that one. But
Indy Hartwell versus Miyu Yamashita. Okay,
I think Mia's going to sign soon if she's in the States this much.
That's what I'm saying. She's just doing her little. She's getting her bag right now.
Neither here or there, but like Tokyo Joshi Pro, they'll do like a big send off They call it a graduation show when the time comes, but I don't think anything's been announced. But regardless, we'll report back on whatever as it happens. But next week, I think it should just be TV and whatever other miscellaneous stuff we end up catching. So look forward to that. Dear listener, if you got this far into the podcast, thank you so much for your time. And we will be back next week.
See ya.